Hey everybody, my name is Wes.
My name is Matt.
And today, Matt, this is our last MasterClass.
It is.
Last one on Church Connect, which is your church app and your website built into ChurchTrac. And so we're going to have a lot of fun going through all the things. We're going to cover everything from building your app from start to finish, cover some pro tips. We've got a lot of really good pro tips.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. We got a lot of content for you, so definitely buckle up. I'll be monitoring the chat throughout, so I'll be answering some questions there, maybe even calling a few out live. Definitely drop questions you have in the chat as we go along. Don't hesitate to do that. But we'll have a Q&A time at the end when it's all said and done. So if we don't get to your question, don't worry. We'll get to it at least in the end. So stay tuned.
Yeah. And as everybody's filtering on in, since this is live, just want to quickly mention our YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check that out. We have so many videos way beyond this one that we're doing here live, but we have all of our previous live streams, all of our user guide videos, and so much more. And then Matt, our Facebook group.
Yeah, I'm actually dropping links into the chat right now for both the YouTube channel and for the Facebook group. So click on those links. That'll open up another window that'll be waiting for you when you're done with this workshop. Go ahead and subscribe to YouTube and join the Facebook group. It's a community of thousands of users around the world who love ChurchTrac and would love to help answer any questions that you have about the software and about really anything else.
Yeah.
You can go there looking for inspiration for anything you're doing with your ministry just to get the advice that you need. So we would love to see you join that Facebook group if you're a ChurchTrac user.
And then last but not least, if you ever need help in ChurchTrac and you are looking at the software and like, I just need someone to talk to, if you click that help button on the top right corner of your screen, you have the ability to obviously show all help topics, view our online user guide and everything, but you can just go straight to asking us a question, reach out to our team, create a support ticket. You can even schedule a phone call with our support team and our main support page, which is really nice. I really appreciate this just because I'm the kind of person, I like to talk to people sometimes.
Yeah.
So
sometimes,
great.
I mean, I would rather send an email. I'm that kind of person, but sometimes it's good to just like, I have like 5 questions and I know I can knock them all out in 15 minutes. So let's just jump on the phone.
Yes, so that's what that's for. All right, so in the chat, let us know on a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being that you are ready to take our jobs here, and 1 being like you're just getting into ChurchTrac. Where are you on your skills with Church Connect? So are you a 1, just learning? Are you a 10 where you're a professional? Let us know in the chat. And obviously, if you're watching this at a later time, you have no way of telling us because there is no chat, but you can always reach out to our team. So let's see where everybody is here and their skills of ChurchTrac from 1 to 10. So Brenda, 1.
Yep, Brenda 1. Crystal is a 6. Tim is a 3. We're moving fast. April is a 5. Looks like people are kind of 5 and less with only like a few people. So this is going to be the best resource for you, frankly. Yeah. We're really glad you're here. You're going to get a lot out of this. By the time you're done with this masterclass, you're going to be like 3 points further along on the scale.
Yes.
We're really excited to jump in and show you all the things. So, Wes, why don't we dive into the overview of what Church Connect is?
And let me ask the question too, because I think this is going to set people up to really understand Church Connect. In the chat, let us know right now, in 3 words or less, describe your church website, your current church website. So 3 words or less. We do this all the time in our getting started workshops, which are so fun. But I like asking this question because it really helps us understand where you are in your journey as a church and your website. So 3 words or less, describe your church website. And to this day, Matt, our favorite is still unchanging, like Jesus, which we always say is the best theological truth ever, because Jesus is the same today as he was yesterday, as he will be tomorrow. But when it comes to our church website, it needs to actually like change, and it can't have the spaghetti dinner from 4 years ago.
Yeah. Now Brenda said cluttered, Melissa said nada, Bob minimal, Kevin outdated, I see obsolete, entering info, primary, basic, very slow, non-existent, basic functionality, like dial-up, Jason said. I don't ever want to go back to the internet sounding like a Looney Tunes cartoon every time you fired it up.
I just think of America Online, but that's neither here than there.
Okay, Craig with Resurrection Episcopal said fresh, current, visual. That's great, Craig. What's really cool, this is something for you, Craig, and for anyone else that's in Craig's boat. Church Connect will work with your church as well, even if you have a website that you like and it's working and you want to keep it. But we'll talk more about that. that as we go along.
Yeah, and so from all that feedback we got, basically it comes down to 3 different use cases with Church Connect. If you are a church that has no website whatsoever, then in your situation, Church Connect can be your church website and church app, because it's both. Now, if you are like, I see one church here said boring, Bob says outdated. If you're in that boat, then maybe use Church Connect as your website. Think about replacing your current website. And then if you are in the boat where you're like, hey Wes, we have built an amazing website, then use Church Connect as your main church app. And that way you can have this great app experience for your church members in tandem with your great website that you've already invested all this time and energy making. So that is when to use Church Connect, how to use Church Connect in that scenario. Now let's actually kind of show it off. Matt, let's show off Church Connect.
Let's show it off. So I actually have a smartphone with the Connect app already loaded up. So our video guide's going to show you what this looks like. All I have to do is tap on the app icon and it opens up Church Connect. So here we go. You'll see the first thing you'll notice when I open this up is all these what we call cards. These are basically buttons, and they're in a single file or in a single column. Each little square or rectangle is a button that takes me somewhere else in Church Connect. And I'm scrolling just to show you a handful of cards. But if I tap on Connect with Potential, it takes me to a form that I can fill out as if I'm a guest of this church. So I can submit my contact information. They can reach back out to me later. If I go back, I can go to the podcast. That's a link card that takes me somewhere else online. You can see online giving here that shows you, that takes you to the donation portal. There's a prayer request form card. I can record my attendance to let them know that I'm present. Lots of different card types. You can even add like a video card. That's me there with one of our ChurchTrac videos. There's another one there that I threw in just during like a live stream once just to show, or a workshop that I did with the church just to show them how to do that. So you can add all different card types, and we'll talk about the different card types in just a moment. But Church Connect is more than just a page with buttons with information. It's also a member portal. What I can do is I can log in, and I've actually already logged in as a member of this church. Now that I've logged in though, there's a menu button in the top left-hand corner of the screen that takes me to my profile. I can update my profile. I can change my profile photo because I don't have Nick Offerman's mustache, so I need to update that. I can update my birthday if that's wrong, my email address if that's changed, and I can even do that for the rest of my family. So your members can keep your portal or your database updated for you. They can also see upcoming events that you've added to your calendar in Church Connect, or I'm sorry, in ChurchTrac. Your members, your leaders can enter attendance. They can register for upcoming events. They can even sign up to like serve in, worship at your church. And then also they can go to their online giving portal or even see their donation history. This is what I love showing church leaders. Every time in a workshop, I show this to a church leader. They go, what? Because they don't have to do all that work come January to send everybody their contribution statements.
My church does this.
Yeah. Yes. My church does too now. They'll send you the printed one if you request it, but otherwise they just tell everyone, go to the app, it's there. So that's Church Connect at a very quick glance. We're gonna dive into it pretty deeply in just a moment to show you how to set everything up. But Wes, let's talk a little bit more about everything. Well, actually, before we go any further though, I guess I need to cover the fact that this is very easy to use. This is something that I just wanna hammer really quickly. This is a very simple and easy to use platform. It's part of the reason why Church Connect is an all-in-one platform. We've included your website and app in the church management software itself. And we are the most user-friendly platform, church management platform out there. That includes the website management as well. We've made this incredibly easy to use. You don't have to be a graphic designer to set this up. And it's fully included in your ChurchTrac account at whatever paid subscription you're on. And also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I was going to say, Bob had a really great comment in the chat that I just want to address. So Church Connect, it is the same both in the app experience as it is in the website. And we made that unified experience because we want church members to have the exact same experience no matter if they're quickly just going on the website for the first time or using the app time and time again. And it's the exact same experience both on an iPhone and an Android device, which is really the power of this, is that there is no questioning how it looks on this and that and keeping up with different devices. devices.
Just dynamic
it is the
to whatever.
Same. Yes. So that makes it so great. Now, when it comes to sharing your Church Connect, it's worth pointing out. Let me show you on the big screen where I've actually got an account logged in, and this is a new account. I literally just created this account. But when I go to the Church Connect tab in ChurchTrac, that's where we manage all this stuff. You share your Church Connect in one of two ways. One is either just going with your URL, which you'll want to customize. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And the other way is actually downloading your QR code. So whenever I pull this up, I have this QR code in which I can have on the screen, I can have this in the bulletin, blah, 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 share it, people scan it, they go right to the app. So that is how you share it. But this is the perfect time to talk about kind of some of the settings and everything, and just kind of getting going with this. So for those of you, whenever you go to the Church Connect page for the very first time, you've never been here before, you're going to be prompted to customize your Connect page link. It's automatically going to prompt you there. If you click that, it's going to pull up the menu in which I can customize my link, because let's be honest, it's going to be hard for people to remember F4C37A8.churchtrac.com. You can actually customize this to be whatever you want .churchtrac.com, so it's always a subdomain of ChurchTrac, just to FYI. And so, for example, my church, this church that I'm using for this test scenario is called Random Action Verb Church. So let's see if RAVC is available. Random Action Verb Church. Yeah, so check availability. Woo! Look at that. I didn't think that one would be available, but it is. So I can actually choose that, and you just want to make sure when you choose it that is the one you want. You can change it later, but it is not recommended, and you have to reach out to our support team to do that. But I'll go ahead, choose that. Are you sure you want to make that your account keyword? Yes. So now I can tell my people, hey, go to ravc.churchtrac.com, and I can also have my people download that QR code, scan it with their phone. I can put this QR code anywhere. Love QR codes for this reason. All right, now let's talk about like customizing a few other things in Church Connect.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of customization going on here beyond the cards, which we'll talk about after this. When I go to this Connect menu, I have these Connect settings. Now in these Connect settings, I can do things like show my logo on the Connect homepage, which I highly recommend showing that logo. To get to that logo, by the way, if you go to settings in ChurchTrac, I'm going to jump away from this Church Connect area just because I think this is so important. Settings in ChurchTrac, under the admin settings, this is where you can actually drag and drop your church logo. So if you already have a logo for your church, which I do, then I can actually just drag and drop it right here. There we go.
Nice.
Potential church. And that logo shows up on like contribution statements and stuff, but it also shows up on Church Connect. And so now when I go back to that Connect menu and I go to my Connect settings and I have that enabled, it's going to show that when we start showing out that later. You can have a main heading, you can have a subheading, you can change your background color, you can change the color of your buttons, you can change how much you want the curve to be on the buttons of the app itself, which I really love. So maybe I could say, you know what, I want a real curvy kind of setup there because I like that more rounded look. Yeah. And then Connect app icon, I love this. You can actually create your own app icon that when people download your app, that app icon is on their phone. And I actually already made one in Canva, which we're going to talk about Canva a little later, but I can just drag and drop that app icon on there.
Nice.
And I can't stress enough, like this, I think this took me
like 2 minutes.
Yeah. It's super fast. So like you don't have to invest a ton of time.
Most churches have their logo already created.
Yeah.
You're just clipping out the words to have the actual image or the visual aspect of that logo and drop it in for your app icon. It's easy.
Oh yeah. So app icon, I can put that in there. So that is kind of most of the settings happening here when it comes to just the general like initial customization.
Yeah. We also need to talk about like their Connect Users tab.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important because this is where whenever someone creates an account in Church Connect, they'll show up here on this screen. Obviously, This is a brand new account that was created, so there's no one listed here. But you'll see all your members that have created an account here. You can also click that Church Connect User Settings tab to have a little more control over what they can and cannot do within Church Connect.
Yeah.
But also below that, at the bottom, you can choose which user in ChurchTrac gets notified when someone creates an account or when someone updates their profile.
Yeah, and this is so great, have that power. And then we have form responses. So when people fill out forms, they're going to see them filled out here. We have Add My Family, which is a new feature we literally just came out with an hour ago.
Yeah, we just launched this ahead of this workshop.
In which you can actually have a QR code people scan, and they can add themselves to your church database. And you can, in essence, build your church database like in minutes.
You can outsource the work of that to your members. All you have to do is just verify things as it comes in, and you're done.
It's so awesome. And then online giving, kind of a part of Church Connect, which we'll talk more about that later. But that's just kind of the lay of the land in terms of just the initial setup of Church Connect and just understanding kind of where some of these things are found. We want to dive into having some fun.
Let's get into the actual meat and potatoes, though. Let's talk about adding cards.
Let's build some stuff, man. And I think, Matt, this is very different from I know some of you out there, maybe you're used to using something like Squarespace or Wix or
WordPress.
Yes, there's so many. And this is meant to be much simpler and streamlined. This is meant to be for someone who wants to build something very quickly that really doesn't have the time or the know-how to really deeply invest all that energy in something like a Squarespace or WordPress or Wix, because it's just made out of cards. We have all these cards that make up our entire app/website. So let's build something.
Let's build something, man. So to get started, all you have to do is click the Connect menu button in the top right-hand corner of the screen, and then select the Add a Card button. It's that very first option in that menu. It opens up a slide-out window with a list of all the different card types that you can use in Church Connect. Each card type has its own purpose and has a function that's specific to it, but there's a lot of wiggle room in terms of customizing each one.
Yes.
Now, for instance, I showed you a form card a little while ago, that welcome card.
Let's build one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and build one. Click that form card, select Add this card, and you're off to the races. At this point, you can, if you click that blue button that says Form Questions, you can also give this name a card a name if you need to, but that's just for internal purposes. You can click that Form Questions button, and that takes you to where you can actually customize the form itself and the fields that you're collecting from people. So you can have their name, like a field to ask for their name and email address injected for you, and then click Add a Question. And we have a lot of different field types, so there's really no limit to what you can create and what information you can gather from people.
Yeah.
You can add like short text or a paragraph. You can add date pickers. So for like a typical question, we'll use that form that we just looked at a little while ago, that Connect with Us card.
Yeah.
We've already asked for their name and their email address. Why don't we also ask how did you hear about us, or something like that? So how did you hear about the church?
So how did you hear about random action verb church?
I love it. Random action verb church. And then you can add, you can make this required or not. Then you can add another question and say what would you like to learn more about the church, or something like that, and make it a drop-down list that they can choose from. And that way you can even give them different options, like if they want to connect with a pastor or sign up to become a member or join a class or learn more about the church or something like that. You can add those options to choose from there. That's just a very, very quick example of what you can do with form cards. Obviously, you can think through and what kind of forms you'd like to add. I've seen churches with volunteer form cards for signing up to join a volunteer team. Or we even had like a prayer request card there. So really any form that you have, like in a physical copy at your church, you can create the digital version of that in Church Connect, just to make it easier to gather that from people.
And I just love the customization of this, where it is really up to us in terms of how we want to design these things and have these forms, and we can easily change the order of the questions and all that stuff, which is just super cool.
Yeah. And then we showed you just very briefly a little while ago that form responses tab at the top. The benefit of doing form cards in Church Connect is you never lose the responses. Nope. It never gets accidentally dropped somewhere or tossed in a purse or a bag and then just forgotten.
Yes.
And you and anyone else that is a user of your ChurchTrac account that you've given access to Church Connect, they can see that and monitor that. But also, that's not the only card. I mean, we've talked a little bit about form card. You can also add pages, whole entire pages to Church Connect.
And as I look at this, Matt, we can, because we just created the form itself. We didn't even make the card look a certain way. Yeah. And so what we can do is I can edit this card And I've seen some churches take very different approaches. I've seen some churches where it's like they really treat this as just their app, and they want their app experience to be like very basic, but like in a good way. So that way it's just easy to navigate.
So like comprehensive, but also simple.
Yeah, and so they won't even use pictures. They will just have like a connect with us. And they'll just have that as the title of the card.
Yeah.
But then I've seen other churches, they're like, you know what, I want like a really awesome image. And I think that's what's so neat about this is then you can take an image you've already created, and I'd recommend using like just some free image creator, or if you already have Photoshop or something, but then just adding in an image there. And so that way, whenever we've created that card and everything, there it is. It showed up, which is super cool.
So you can make these cards fit your church's branding, if you want to think of it that way. That way it matches everything else that you're doing across the board on social media, in the actual church itself, with whatever marketing that you're doing. It all works together. You can also add pages to Church Connect. What I love about pages is it's really, really dynamic in terms of like what you can do with it and what you can add to it. Because you can, if you're like familiar with HTML, you can even embed stuff there.
Yes.
So the page card's the very first option on that list of cards. But once you select that, you can click the Edit Page Content button to the right. That opens up a text editor. So you can add information about the church, like time and location, and then maybe embed, let's say, a Google Map location of your church to make it really easy for new people to know exactly where to go and when to be there and what to do.
And this is so neat because even though we've made this very simple in terms of being able to build out these cards, if you are willing to venture into the side of HTML, you can do some pretty wild stuff with this. And like I've embedded all sorts of things on here. I've seen churches embed their Google Map, so that way the map's right there. And then my cell phone, when I click that Google Map on that Church Connect page, it opens up Google Maps on my phone, takes me to the church. Like, that's awesome.
So perfect. Michelle, you said, Melissa, you asked, how does the info sync to the people? That's through their email address. But we'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. But it's because they enter their email address when they create a profile, and it's the email address on file on the people's screen. So that's how everything is linked together. But in the page card, like Wes was saying, you can get crazy with the HTML just to really customize the way it looks, maybe even add your own content. Like you can embed videos in there as well. Even though you can have a video card, you can have a page with lots of videos embedded for people to watch. So I've seen churches use that for like almost like a what to expect or getting to know the church. So like a message from the pastor welcoming guests and stuff like that, they'll have that on a page in a page card in Church Connect. So it's really great. We highly recommend you get into using page cards just to learn how you can use that for. Like if you go really deep in Church Connect, you can hyperlink to other pages within a page card. Oh my goodness, I love seeing churches doing that.
If anybody has done that, if you've hyperlinked to other Connect cards through a page card, let me know in the chat. I'm just kind of curious if anyone's, that's like, we should have added that as a pro tip. That's like high level stuff to like link all those things, but that's good.
Now speaking of linking though, another thing that I think a lot of you are going to use and appreciate is the link card itself. Because a lot of your churches have pages or content elsewhere online, and you can turn Church Connect into a central hub that connects to all of those things. So you can have a link card that takes people to your Facebook page or to your other social media pages, to your main website. If you're like, I forget who said that they had a great website. If you have a great website, you can link to that from Church Connect just to direct people there, and even have a link from your website into the app itself so that they're connected.
And some common things I see churches do with this is like their podcast. They want to link to their podcast. They want to link directly to where they do their live streaming at. They want to link to additional content. Maybe they have like a specific Dropbox file, or they want to link to their online giving. Although I will make a compelling argument that ChurchTrac online giving is pretty awesome. If you're using another online giving provider,
you can still use it.
Link right to it from Church Connect. And that's kind of part of the beauty with the simplicity is the fact that you can literally link to anything with it.
We don't like lock you into this ecosystem, so you don't have to use our online giving platform. You can use whatever your church is currently using. You don't have to leave it.
And so for this particular one, like I can just say, you know what, this is going to go to our church's podcast. Then I can drag and drop because I like to be visual with my Church Connect. Highly recommend it. So then there's my podcast. So then people just see that. They select it on their phone or iPad or whatever device it is they're using, and then it takes them right to the URL, which I would just drop in that URL wherever we're hosting our podcast from. It's pretty great.
And as you've seen, Wes has been dragging and dropping images into these cards throughout this demonstration. You can fully customize the look of Church Connect by using your own images. I've seen churches use just photographs that they've taken around their church.
Yes.
I've seen churches use stuff from Canva, which is what Wes has been using for this. We've actually created templates that you can use in Canva specifically for Church Connect, just to make this really easy and simple. But we'll give you a link to that in a little bit. But we highly recommend you're creating your own images or using your own images and adding it to Church Connect just to make it fit the character of your church.
Yeah.
And not just branding, but like the actual tone and the character of your organization.
But I guess this is the perfect time for us to jump into just more of like, how do you create cards that look good? So let's talk about Canva, because we've mentioned it like 3 times, and I think it's...
we've talked about it a lot. And if you've watched videos of ours in the past, you're sick of us talking about Canva. We love Canva because it's a platform that you can use to make really great visual media of all kinds, not just Connect cards.
Yeah.
But it's basically Photoshop for dummies. That's the way I describe it.
And I think that's the perfect description, because it is definitely not as advanced as a program like Photoshop, and it can't do a lot of things Photoshop can do.
But it doesn't have the steep learning curve that comes with Photoshop. And I say dummies lovingly. I'm one of those dummies. I use Canva all the time because I don't use Photoshop. And I'm not going to take the time to like learn that. No. Canva makes it really easy to just jump right in, make really great looking media, and not have to worry about the fact that you're not paying for it. And that's the other really cool secret about Canva. Canva gives their paid subscription to nonprofits for free.
Yes.
So your church can have the full arsenal that Canva offers without paying a dime. So that's why we promote it. We're not paid by Canva.
No.
They don't even know we exist. we just know that it's a great resource for churches, and so that's why we promote it.
And we actually have gone, so we've already told you what Canva is and how you can get it for free and everything as a nonprofit. So if you go to our online user guide, and I'll drop this link in the chat because I want everyone to go to this. This is, if you have not yet seen this user guide article in ChurchTrac, you need to know about it, because this is going to save you tons of time if you're the kind of person that doesn't want to reinvent the wheel. We already have Canva templates we've created. We've created in 2 different sizes. That way we've just really cut down the legwork for you. But whenever you go, you select those templates, then it goes ahead and says you want to use this template. I can use that template, and there you go. These are templates we have already created. These are the exact same ones you've just been looking at. And here's what's crazy, y'all. You can go on there, you can start adjusting it to your church's branding. So you can say, oh, our colors are not those. Our colors for our church are actually this, and it's not that blue. It's actually this green. Whoa, I don't want to use that. Let's use a different one. Maybe there. There you go. Now, I am not good when it comes to picking out colors, am I?
I'm just throwing this together really fast to show you how easy it is, that you can customize this, but it's really simple. It's not a very complicated process. Well, another really cool thing about Canva, and I know that this live stream isn't about Canva, it's about Connect. But what I love about Canva is you can create what's called a brand kit, which allows you to upload all of your church's specific colors, your logo, your fonts, your everything. That way, as you're creating images, all you're doing is just injecting that information into those images with a few clicks of the mouse. You're not having to like reinvent the wheel with every image you create.
Yeah, and so to learn more about Canva, because this obviously is not a live stream about Canva, but Canva is such a valuable tool when it comes to just designing things, and you want to design your Church Connect well. That's why we kind of really push this thing so hard. But check out our other live streams we've done on Canva. There's one called Canva for Churches. I think it's like one of the #1 watched ones on YouTube right now for that.
We've done 2. We did Canva for Churches, and we did Canva templates for churches. So Canva for Churches is just an overview of how your church can use it. Templates is like going deep into like actually making the images and showing you how that's simple and giving you some use cases for what your church can use it for.
And we have other types of templates we've created. Oh, the video is right on our user guide, so there you go. Well, just save.
But I also added a link again to the YouTube channel. Catherine, you asked how do you find those on Canva? Just go to our YouTube channel. Those videos are there. I dropped the link into the chat for that channel, so just click on that.
Yeah. So that was just really quick. Matt, we showed just kind of the lay of the land of Church Connect. We've showed kind of how to build out all these cards, because at the end of the day, these cards are what make up our church app / website.
Yeah.
And we've shown how you can actually make those cards pop with Canva and stuff. I want to dive into some real fun stuff. The stuff that really just, it wakes me up in the morning, even though I do need lots of coffee to wake me up in the morning. And that is just like ways that we can really utilize Church Connect
and get
well.
the most out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually get our people to use it and stuff.
Yeah, because so far, most of what we've done is a really big overview of how to use Canva or Connect, not Canva. Let's do the deep dive and give you all like the secrets to take I keep saying Canva. What's wrong with me? To take your Church Connect to the next level. So step 1 is sort your cards accordingly. That's just the gist of it. Sort your cards accordingly. What I mean by that is within your Church Connect page in ChurchTrac, you can click that Connect menu button. Wes, if you don't mind showing them.
Yeah.
Click Connect menu, and then sort cards, that very last option. You can arrange these cards in whatever order you prefer. We recommend you put the most important cards, we recommend you decide what are your top 3 most important cards, the things that you want people to go to the most. Make sure those are the first 3 cards that people see when they go to your Church Connect page. Depending on what screen, like what device they're using to view Church Connect, whether it's a phone or a desktop or a tablet, the order of the cards will be a little bit different. And on the phone view, your cards are in single file in 1 column, and on a tablet they're in two columns.
2 or 3,
and
depending.
a desktop they're 3. So it'll shuffle them around a little bit based on what screen size they're in, but just make sure that your most important cards are the first thing that people see.
And I think to show it on a mobile device, Matt,
Yes.
just because it's so important.
That's kind of how we emphasize it.
Yeah, by showing it on the mobile device, it really just kind of instills that you don't want your people having to scroll a lot. And so whenever they are able to go to your Church Connect and the first few cards are the most important things that you want them to see, it's just key.
Yeah, so like on the phone, you'll notice like the Connect with Potential card is at the very top, the podcast is next, and online giving is third. Those are the top 3 things that a lot of churches identify. They want to connect with their guests, they want to send them to learn more about the church, and then they also want to make it easy for members to find where to make a donation and set that up.
Yeah.
But obviously you can arrange this according to your needs in the moment. Like if you have a big push to get more volunteer signups, move that form to the top.
Yeah.
Or if you have a big event coming up like Easter, have the event card right there at the very top.
Yes, and I think that's the thing, like sometimes churches can get stuck in that notion of, well, we have it this way. No, this is something you can change so easily in a moment, where if you have something really important, to the top.
Yeah, to the top.
And now, kind of going along with the spirit of this, I have another pro tip for you all out there. Listen up closely. Don't get too crazy. Sometimes I find churches, they get into Church Connect, and some of you out there are probably looking at this right now like, oh my goodness, I'm going to create so many cards. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You start creating more cards, all of a sudden your people don't feel like they're interacting with you as a church. They feel like they're interacting with Instagram, and they're just scrolling because you've got 57 cards on there, and they don't know what's important and what's not because you have so many cards. So we always recommend to just really be intentional with your cards. Don't get too crazy with your cards, because at the end of the day, we find that churches, about a dozen to 15 cards is about the most you really want to do, because anything more than that is just information overload for people, and there's only so many call to actions just in sales in general. You don't want to give people too many calls to actions. If you've ever gone and bought a car at a dealership, one of the big training things is the salesman is not supposed to bring you 7 different cars and say, hey, let's test drive all 7. No, they bring you one and say, drive it, because they want you to buy it. And so same kind of thing with Church Connect, just don't have too many cards there. It just makes your life easier. It makes life easier for your members and so on.
Now here's a really, really, really cool pro tip that I think a lot of churches aren't immediately aware of unless they themselves take the time to learn this. So we're going to give it to you all right up front. You can actually basically create 2 different experiences in Connect for your people. What I mean by that is, if you click that Connect menu button in the top, actually, why am I saying Connect menu? Click on one of the cards themselves.
Any card, yeah.
Yeah, any of the cards. So this announcement, and then scroll down, and you'll see two fields, card status and then a hide this card after option. So under the card status, you could say that this is displayed until date below, and if that field below is blank, that means it's displayed forever.
Always.
And it's always, no matter who's looking at Church Connect. But under card status, you can also choose to say you only want this card to display when someone's either logged in or not logged in, which means like since only members of your church, or at least people that have a profile on the people screen, can actually create an account in Church Connect, you can basically create two different versions of Connect. One for guests that only see information that is available for people who don't have an account in Church Connect, and then another for members. So whenever they log into their account, all those guest-related cards disappear and only member-related cards display.
Yeah, and so not only did we give you all a website for your church, we gave you two, because that's basically what this, it's two websites and basically two app experiences, depending on if the person's a member of your church or not. I love that, and I think it's worth mentioning as well, like this date field here.
Yes.
This is so great because if you have a card that is very like time sensitive and you don't want it being displayed after a certain date, it is so easy because, I don't know, let me know in the chat. Do you ever find yourself in life where there's something you're supposed to do and then you just completely forget, and then like you look and you're like, oh no, I forgot to take that down or whatever. I love this because we're wearing so many hats in ministry. So it's better to just ahead of time say, hey, at this certain date, this thing's gone. That way I don't have to worry about it still being up on our website. And it could be something like a registration. It could be, you know, whatever.
Well, it's also like, you don't want the spaghetti dinner from 3 years ago still on the website.
No.
And we say that lovingly, we say it lovingly, but we've seen that in some church websites where some really cool and fun event that was awesome from like years ago is still there on the upcoming events page.
Yeah.
This makes it easy. So you can tell the system to clean up after you as you go along so that you're not cluttering your site with outdated information.
All right, another pro tip. This one's a really good one, real quick. Form response notifications, they're going to save you a lot of time. So when you have a form card, like for example, this Connect With Us form that we just created a minute ago, but I can notify a specific user. Now, I'm the only one that can be notified right now because I just created this test account to show off, but if we had other ChurchTrac users here, I could then say which user or users get notified. And whenever someone fills out a form in Church Connect, that form, all those responses are immediately emailed to that person, which is so awesome because let's be honest, Matt, there are a lot of pastors and church leaders out there. No, they use ChurchTrac, but only when they have to because they're doing a gazillion other things and they're mobile.
Absolutely,
and so
we get it.
They would rather just have an email that has all this, you know, like a prayer request. This is amazing for prayer requests because then when people fill out that prayer request form, it's immediate, gets emailed to all of your prayer warriors that are the ones in charge of that. They can start praying. They can get the prayer team praying. It's beautiful.
So you can have the connection card go to the connection director or the outreach director. You can have the prayer request card go to the prayer ministry, and you can have the volunteer sign up go to the head of the volunteers at your church. You can have everything going where it needs to go so that the people in charge of that little corner of the church are up to date.
All right, now Matt, this is a good one about members. You already talked about giving history.
Yeah, so your members can go, like I showed it to you, I can show it to you again. I know our video guys is bouncing back and forth showing you different things. But whenever a member is logged into Church Connect, they can go to the menu button in the top left-hand corner of the screen, select the My Giving History option, and it'll take them to a page where it'll show them all the donations that they've made between whatever two dates are set here at the very top, and they can customize that. But on top of that, they can also generate their own contribution statement. I know a lot of churches, or at least people in churches, like to have a quarterly or a biannual statement just to kind of keep track of things as they go along. But even without that, like on January, you could tell your members, listen, if you want a statement, reach out to us, but otherwise it's there in your app. Just go log into the app and download it there. It makes it really easy on you because it's a little less work for you to do every year.
Yeah. Now, another pro tip, ACH donations. Oh my goodness. Let me know in the chat if you know about ACH and how awesome it is. But ACH, we push this really hard at ChurchTrac. And FYI, ChurchTrac makes $0
Big old
on
goose
online
egg.
giving. This is just an integration we have through Stripe, our merchant processor, for the online giving in ChurchTrac. FYI, if you are a nonprofit organization, you will qualify for Stripe's nonprofit pricing. Just reach out to them. 2.2% plus 30 cents for credit card transactions. I'll say that again, 2.2% plus 30 cents for credit card transactions. But ACH is a 25-cent flat rate. If you go on YouTube and you just search ACH versus credit card donations, our video is the first one that comes up. I apologize, you're already tired of seeing me, but I'm on that one. And I talk about the difference in the two and the math showing the savings.
Yes,
Matt,
it's huge.
The average church we work with, when they switch a dozen or so donors that we're giving with credit card regularly online to giving with ACH, they save like over $1,000 a year in online giving fees.
Yes,
on
that's
average.
huge. That's big for even for a medium to large size church. Saving a few $1,000s a year is a big deal.
Yeah.
So we highly recommend you promote the ACH option. I see Valerie Evans. You say we push the ACH option. Great.
Yes.
Tina, love it. ECBC office, yes, love it. I'm so glad that you all are already on the ball with that. It's going to save your church a lot of money in not having to pay higher fees like you do with the credit and debit card option. Even though like Stripe offers a really good nonprofit discount, it's still better to pay only a 25-cent flat rate than 2.2%.
And you know, I lied a little bit earlier. I apologize. I said, earlier, what gets me up in the morning making those Connect cards. No, it's actually saving churches a lot of money and helping them build the body of Christ. So that's kind of awesome.
We were talking yesterday preparing for this, and you had a really cool acronym for explaining how to best share this with your church.
Hold on.
And it was really clever. I was impressed.
All right, so this is the last pro tip we're going to give you all. And for this pro tip, let me see if the mic picks this up. Oh, cracking the knuckles. All right, so when it comes to getting, because we can spend all this time and energy, and I know a lot of you are excited, and if you're watching this later, you're excited diving into this and you're ready to share this thing with your church. You can do an amazing job making all this and have 0 people use this if you don't actually promote it and share it.
Yeah.
And so let me give you the best tip of all of how to share your Church Connect with your people. And it actually is an acronym, TIP, since it's a tip, and that is first, texting. Texting, number one way to communicate with your people.
Absolutely.
In the United States, 90%, was it Matt, 90% of text messages?
90% of text messages are open and read within the first 3 minutes, and 98% are open and read within the first 20 minutes.
So take this URL link that you've got for Church Connect, copy it, go to the messaging tab in ChurchTrac. Now, I don't have this configured in this test account, but you can send out a text message with ChurchTrac, and that way you can then attach that link. People can then get that text. They go to your Church Connect, boom, they're done.
Takes them right where they need to go.
So texting. Number 2, internet for the I. And by internet, we mean everything like email. Send out an email to your church with your Church Connect URL. And so I can actually go ahead and I can paste my URL right in there. And I think I copied the wrong thing earlier.
You copied
so that's
the box.
Why. That's why. So that's why it's pasting that. But I can paste that URL. Where are the other places we can share
Social
this?
media, of
Yes.
course. Post it on Facebook. Post it on, is it called X now? Twitter? Whatever. Instagram.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Instagram, everywhere. Just make sure that you plaster the internet with that URL to direct people where you want them to go. Just makes it really easy. I mean, I know the QR code already makes it easy, but just having the link and they just tap on it, that's the easiest way to get people where you want them to go.
100%. And then the last one, so texting, internet, and then personal. And personal, this means, telling people about it from the pulpit. This means, and I think your church did a phenomenal job of this, just having it at the Welcome Center.
Well, not just having it at the Welcome Center, but having you. So what I did when for a church that my wife and I were serving at, it was a church plant a while back. I created the Church Connect page because I work here. Yeah. So of course I'm designing it. And then once I was done, then we started announcing it to all of the members. I would come down to the pulpit, talk it up, kind of hype it up, let everybody know what it's for and that it's coming in a couple weeks. But then the week of, when we actually launched it, I told everybody how to download it. We had the QR code. I walked them through it, but I also said, listen, if you have questions, if you need help, if you want someone to walk you through this, I'll be out in the welcome area. Just bring your phone to me. and I would take their phone and I would download the app, and then I would start the process of creating an account for them and then hand them the phone back where they could like type in their information and be done. That hugely increased the adoption and use rate of the app at my church. I think the industry standard is like a 25% download and use within 6 months or it's bust.
Yeah.
Which is really low, like discouragingly low. But I saw like over 50%.
Yeah.
Because I had people like, oh, yeah, I'll just go to Matt. and I would set it up and they had it on their phone and they would use it occasionally. It was perfect. It's easy. So just devote yourself and your time to walking people through it. We highly recommend you train volunteers on like downloading it and setting it up before you officially launch it to the whole church. That way they, as a group, can be throughout the church or in the welcome area, walking other members through it so that you have a lot of people helping you out with that. It's going to make a huge difference.
All right. Well, we have covered those pro tips alone. I think are going to help a lot of people really take their Connect next level, especially that last pro tip, because at the end of the day, we got to share it with our people and we got to hype it up. We got to get the word out. We got to put the proverbial bat signal, so to speak, except it's not a Batman signal. It's our church
logo. Painted in the clouds. I love it.
Yeah. That reminds. Actually, that'd be a cool idea for a church. Anyways, this was fantastic.
This was a fun group. This was a fun. MasterClass. I hope that you can jump into the Church Connect feature now with a little more confidence, knowing how to navigate, how to use it, how to set everything up. I'm sure by now you've jumped 2 or 3 points along that 0 to 10 scale we talked about at the very beginning. But if you have any questions, check out our online user guide, watch our videos on the YouTube channel, and reach out to our support team. We are here for you. Even as you create a unique app for your church, we can answer your questions and point you in the right direction and help you along the way. So don't ever hesitate to contact us.
Yes, and for those of you who we saw in the chat earlier, where you're like, I'm like super new to ChurchTrac, I'm learning all these things, I highly recommend go to our online user guide, go to the Getting Started in Facts section, Getting Started with ChurchTrac. Sorry, that's a video of myself there, but join the next...
Stop apologizing, Wes.
Join our next Getting Started live stream. Go ahead, click to join our next one. We have these happening weekly where you can pick a time slot, and these are live streams just like this one today, except they are so much better because they are like a small classroom sort of setting, where instead of having 150, 200 people in this thing, this is a live stream in which we only have maybe a dozen or so people, and it's purposeful in that way because we want to use it as an opportunity to teach you the software and really help onboard you in this stuff. So that's a great resource. Highly recommend it. We have so many features coming out we can't yet talk about. Some that just came out today that we're about to write user guide articles for. You all have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll see you.